I am still the most productive freshman from Long Island with the most participation in bills.
In the nearly 2 months he's been in Congress, Rep. George Santos, who recused himself from his committee assignments, has co-sponsored 27 bills and just sponsored his first, the SALT Relief Act, where if passed, the legislation would increase the limitation on the deduction for state and local taxes from $10,000 to $50,000.
This was a Trump policy. Was he wrong about it?
Yes, he was wrong, and I said he was wrong then. I say he was wrong now.
But wrong is also what many constituents call Santos's move to co-sponsor the bill to make an AR-15 style rifle, a weapon used in some of the deadliest mass shootings, the national gun of the U.S.
Are you serious about it?
I do have a very large pro-Second Amendment contingency in the district, and I want to make sure that I do good by them.
Santos promised to work with anyone who wants to put rules in place to keep guns out of the hands of people who struggle with mental illness.
What do you have to say about voters who say that you need to seek mental help?
Last I checked and I went through my health check, I'm all good.
But some members of Congress, including those in his own party, have called on the scandal-stricken congressman to resign. Among New York State's freshman congressmen, Santos ranks third in bill participation, but only won the SALT bill as a sponsor. Of those members, Rep. Anthony D'Esposito proposed a bill that would prevent representatives convicted of offenses from profiting in books and media deals.
I don't want to see that he takes a complete disrespect of our oath and a disrespect of the United States Congress and turns that into a money-making machine.
As for Santos's stance on Medicare and Social Security,
I will not vote to remove protections. They are not entitlements.
And when it comes to some other hot-button issues, Santos says he's not in support of Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene's call for a national divorce.
I disagree, and I've told her myself.
He also defended his co-sponsoring of the Stop the Sexualization Act, insisting it isn't directed at censoring LGBTQ-themed books in school.
It censors sexually explicit content from children K through 8, and it also requests some sort of parental consent for children 9 through 12.
During the interview, Santos stopped short of naming his allies and the names of the schools he went to.
I went to 2 public high schools. I did a couple of months in a private school, and then I attained a GED from New York City.
Do you wish to name the schools?
I do not, Jody, because I do not wish for an additional witch hunt to continue upon me.
Santos also told us he does not regret winning, and when asked what specific legislation he's working on, he told us water and infrastructure projects, but didn't say who he's working with. Jody Goldberg, Fox 5 News.